sun is numb, the Keurig's clean, your dog is dead, it's a Ponzi screen. Ponzi screen, Ponzi screen, because it's just something to do.
It's David in the storm corner, getting blown around by a tornado on Long Island, yeah. He's in a bathroom taking a dumper while he gets his house crushed right around him. Ooh, storm David, yes, we storm.
This is the morning storm.
Yeah.
Because David was in a tornado yesterday. This is the morning storm. I'm David Bradley Eisenberg.
Yeah, Storm David he's riding a rocking chair like a goofy witch. Ooh, it's David in a tornado. Yeah. It is. I like this. I like this energy. It's bright. It's morning.
Gabe,
See this.
Gabe, how you feeling?
I feel great. You know, just it feels like I'm waking up and going to work again. This is the earliest I've had to wake up in a week.
Yeah, because usually when you do a podcast, it doesn't feel like work.
No,
we're family.
Yeah, it's heavy. It's heavy. That one restaurant where when you hear your family, Olive Garden. It's heavy Olive Garden vibes.
Oh yeah, baby.
The best time to go to Olive Garden is for their breakfast.
What is Olive
like
Garden?
Who doesn't want a steaming plate of slippery noodles first thing in the morning?
God, just like
I'd like unlimited salad and breadsticks. But just can you put some whole milk in there? Just
really? Did you ever try to pull? Look, this is well trodden territory, but did you ever try to get unlimited salad and breadsticks? Because they did. I tried hanging out there for an hour once with my friend Carrie, and they would come by once every 15 minutes and deposit a single breadstick. And I was like, this is not part of the deal. This is not.
It's technically unlimited, but you have to have an unlimited amount of time.
Yeah.
You just have to be there forever.
Talk about a fucking scam or a grift. It like exponentially goes down as you're there. And I was like, look, I want to shovel these little buttery carbs in my mouth. Like this is the only reason we came here.
In the sense that like an asymptotal line technically goes on forever, so do the breadsticks technically go on forever. Like every time it's just like a half of a breadstick, and then a quarter of a breadstick, and then an eighth of a breadstick, and then a 16th of a breadstick, and then the 32nd of a breadstick. And you're always getting a breadstick every time, technically, but it just gets it halves in size every single time.
It's Zeno's paradox of breadsticks.
Yeah.
Or like that Simpsons episode where he has to eat donuts forever, but then he just does. Like he
but he just does.
Yeah. Yeah, well, anyways, welcome to Olive Garden. I'm your host. We're talking about some cool, fun shit first. Because who doesn't like cool, fun shit? Mostly private jets, baby.
Look, it's summertime. It's summertime, David. This is the time of year where you just want to go on a trip with your family. You know, today's episode is going to be all about families and fun family vacations. And sometimes a family needs to take a trip to Aruba or Barbados, or maybe they just need to take a trip this afternoon to Vegas from LA to check out.
That's right.
You know, you got to check out a magic show run by some zany libertarians.
Yeah.
You need to see Penn and Teller.
Oh my
tonight.
God.
And then after that, go to the all-you-can-eat buffet and get the prime rib from underneath the heating tent, and that light that grazed the meat. You need that.
You need that.
So, and how do you do that? If you're a normal human, you're gonna have to take a Allegiant Airlines for $75 and sit in a crowded cattle car with a bunch of other people coughing Corona right at you because, you know, masks are voluntary. Or you could get on what I read about today, which are private jets.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, you can buy a private jet, but what's even cooler than buying a private jet is getting into like an Uber pool jet sharing scheme, like the Dallas-based Jet Suite. And there was this article that we read today, which was 8 shocking secrets I learned while working on private jets. And this was in Bloomberg.
Oh yeah.
But fascinating, this world of the extremely affluent who are in the skies terrorizing the pilots and crew of these jets. It's amazing what money can do for you, right? Like, because when you have money, you don't need any manners or politeness. One of my favorite was the kids, the children of the wealthy. They here, this is from the article. It says pet accidents require planes to be shut down upon landing for deep cleaning. Oh, I didn't even bring up the pets, but the
Oh
number
yeah,
one,
yeah. No, I don't remember that. Yeah, yeah.
the number one reason that people fly in these private jets is their pets.
Oh, yep.
So, and as someone who's allergic to animals, I feel like I'm colorblind in this entire world of caring about animals
Mm-hmm.
because I don't
Yeah.
I don't even think about it. But so many people can't travel without their animals. And then so many wealthy people have exotic animals. You can't bring an ibex, a little baby ibex, you can't bring that in coach.
I can't fly without 90 to 120 complete strangers sitting right next to me in coach. But that's just me.
Uh,
That's
the
only I can only fly that way. So I think private jets might be off for me.
no. The CEO of NBC is literally, he's like, no, I by law I have to travel with a full grown peacock at all times.
It'd be funny if
Yeah.
they have to go with their mascots, like all the different
Yeah.
people did it.
Yeah. Fox is a fox.
Yeah. Amazon, he just like has to have like an acre of the rainforest with him at all times.
This is my emotional support acre of the rainforest, guys.
And Tim Cook, modest guy, just needs an apple. That's it. Just one little apple.
Yeah.
They got to bring their pets, and some of these pets have better health insurance and health care than any of us will ever have. There was one anecdote of a pet on here who, among the frequently flying canines I've booked with Jet Suite, was Muffin, a 200-pound. All right, that's more than I weigh. A 200-pound codependent golden doodle who must at all times have one paw on her owner.
No.
And Mr. Wigglesworth, a golden retriever whose regular cross-country flights to a specialty oncologist have ensured that he'll outlive all of us. At 112, that's in dog years, of course, he's still kicking.
He has to go to specialist oncologist.
Oh.
Think about the carbon footprint. How many animals? How many homes by the beach? How many ecosystems have been devastated by the extraction of oil just to get this dog flying in the air to go back and forth to its cancer doctor?
See, I'll clap back on this though, and I think that really the real problem is political correctness expressing itself in the form of Gabe's allergies.
Wait. How old is this dog? You said it was 112 in dog years. So what? It's like 15, 16, something like that.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know, these fuckers. They have to get these ridiculous breeds. I'm telling you, I like the cat that I got in 2000, Snowy. He's going to turn 20 in October, and it's just because he's a fucking cat. We don't know what breed he is. We don't know where we just got him in the year 2000.
What I'd like to see is like a dog breed that is so inbred it actually has superpowers. Like they don't ever talk, they always talk about how this dog is so inbred it's gonna die at age 7, or like this dog is so inbred it gets like cancer under its skin like under its little skin flaps on its face, or like this dog's like hips actually don't work, and there's actually 4 of them, and none of them talk to each other. But like I want one that's really just this dog is so inbred, it will never it will cure people's cancer for you, and it will live to be 120 in human years, and it can
It's a
fly to
cancer
private jet
sponge.
Yeah.
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 If you rub this dog on your body,
Mhm.
like some indigenous peoples will rub drunk guinea pigs on their body to suck out bad energy.
Right.
Sure.
You can rub one of these inbred golden retrievers on your body
Those
and suck out the tumors.
Just got to get it drunk. Just got to get it drunk first, I guess.
Sure, and then you release it into the wild, right? Because you don't want that bad energy around you anymore.
Been there.
You tie a little ribbon around the golden retriever,
Just let
so that everyone who sees it knows that that's one that's been cursed with the cancers.
Yeah.
that one sucked up all it's green mild.
Don't
all
pet
the,
that
all the
one if
stuff.
you see it.
Yeah.
If you're on a beach, if you're on Venice Beach and you're rollerblading and you see this golden retriever with the ribbon on, you don't stop rollerblading and you don't kiss it on the mouth.
Does this sound like to you guys like a Rafi's fable or something to you? Like, is this? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess if you're gonna let it go, it may as well let it go at JFK, because at least then it'll have some utility in
Pets are not the only terrorists, David. We've also
Okay.
got the kids on the plane. So these rich people bring their kids on the planes. And on one occasion, it says here they went full Picasso drawing with markers on all the seats and walls,
nice.
and the cost of replacing the leather paneling was easily $25,000.
God.
And the kids and that went out and the kids were sold into indentured servitude to pay for it.
That would be justice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, these children went on to continue suffering from affluenza.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And probably when they turned 16, got into some Tahoes or Hummers and just plowed through a promenade full of people.
What I'd be curious is, like, do you have to put down like a child, like a security deposit when you like enter into these sorts of arrangements? Like right now, I'm negotiating with my landlord about some sort of like what to do with these pets. And it's like we're just gonna have a pet, like a cat and a dog, and the cat and the dog they're not gonna like be flying every week to their oncologist. They're just gonna be like living in the apartment, and we're gonna have to put down some sort of might have to put down some extra money for it. So it's like, do these children who are wrecking put denting $25,000 into these leather seats have to have any sort of? Is there anything like that? Liability insurance?
I think. Well, they said that the membership for Jet Suite was around $1 million. So you have to pay. I mean, the people can pay for all of this, but it's that the having money is a license to do anything, because once they have the money, like there's this example of these tech bros who just took a dumps on the inside of the plane and just smeared themselves all over the plane.
That's
So
right. Yeah.
I'm sure they had to
That's right,
pay
yeah.
like to clean that. But would you ever imagine getting on your Delta flight and dropping a deuce in the middle seat?
That's right. Yeah, you got to show that plane. You got to show that plane who's dominant. You got to shit on that plane. You got to shit on that plane.
I mean, they have those bags that are in your pouch that are meant for pooping, right? Those aren't they're called poop bags. Isn't that what you're supposed to do? Because I always
No,
poop in
David,
them.
David, you've been doing it wrong. No, David, no.
And then you press the flight attendant button, and you're like you hold up the bag, and you're like, I made a mess. Could you do? Could somebody handle this for me? Thank you.
Thank you.
It's quite heavy. I did a good job. I'm a productive boy.
I'll take some more
I
peanuts.
made Google.
And then you're like, can I have another Stroop waffle, please?
Yeah.
I'm all empty. Can you fill up my mouth hole again?
Oh man, this is
Okay,
this is
so
getting it.
what's the
Yeah.
what's the last thing that what's some other shenanigans?
What
They,
I mean,
they poop things?
so just looking at the intense amount of waste that goes into this conspicuous consumption, we're seeing here that food. They said food is actually the biggest wasteful aspect of private flying. So
That's
fuel
that's
consumption.
surprising.
Yeah, it says if fuel consumption for private aviation's an egregious offense, food waste is its most surreptitious one, as companies strive to accommodate every dietary whim. International safety rules expressly forbid the arrival of most food items upon landing in the U.S., which means that all the provisions stocked to
Oh.
anticipate picky clients' sudden desires end up incinerated. So, like, whatever food that they can't use or don't use just gets burned up.
What about the most carnal craving of all, the flesh of the human?
I mean, yeah, we those get incinerated too, baby.
Yeah.
An urn of ashes on the return flight back to home base. But most of the meals come catered from Air Culinary Worldwide, and they've got a monopoly on in-flight dining, which allows them to charge $18 for a single lemon.
I'll tell you what's not going in that incinerator is my wife's vagina up top. Up top. Oh, no, he's gone. David's gone. He was so offended he had to leave. Yeah, actually. Oh, he's back. He's back. He's back.
Danny, that joke broke the Zoom.
I know. Yeah. So that's a game. Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh, dude.
Yeah.
So, boys, that's all I've got on that. That was a fun little treat, though. A peek behind the curtain into the lives of the extremely jet set.
But okay, so so and all of this is legal. Any crime that you commit in the air is legal because, except for under the eyes of God, because it's extraterritorial, right? If you're flying in an airplane above the Pacific Ocean, you could, in theory, fly beyond the scope of the law, which means that you are not committing any crimes at all in your sins. But God knows what you're doing because you're closer to God because you're in the air and you're closer to the sky.
I think you've really got something going on here.
Also on Bloomberg, recently, there's this quick little story. Coin shortages are causing a liquidity crisis at laundromats. Basically, because of the coronavirus pandemic, no one is spending cash, right? No one is using coins in a regular way because no one's going anywhere.
I'm not going to the arcade anymore.
No more arcade.
No.
Mm-mm. And so you're not buying, any sort of like gum from the little guy at the grocery store. No one wants to use cash because it's a disease vector on it. So because of that, at the very lowest rung of things, a laundromat and the use of change, just coinage, is suffering. Like it's really hard for laundromats to get quarters to fill their laundry machines to get people change or what have you, because no one's using quarters anymore. And the US government doesn't want to print more quarters because there's a lot of quarters in circulation, but they're all just sitting in people's going about pockets, They're all just in your like party pants that you use only when you're not social distancing.
I have a room in my apartment,
Mm-hmm.
in my 1.5 bedroom apartment.
Oh yeah.
It's just a pile of quarters
Mhm.
I've got
Yeah.
a Scrooge McDuck laundry mat fortune that I swim in.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a small kiddie pool. Yeah, also meanwhile, like all the dime people are just sort of like, well, look who's come crawling back to the dimes.
Yeah, the dime people are really, really raking in. They're the real profiteers of the coronavirus.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's just so strange and bizarre that, like on one hand you do have these people who are, literally spending millions and millions and millions of dollars so they could play it in an exclusive
For dog
Vegas.
oncology and yeah, or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they could take their dog to the University of Washington's oncology center.
Yeah.
And so they can study a new rare type of cancer that only occurs in the most cursed of dog breeds.
Mhm.
But like, and then meanwhile it's like, yeah, man, there's not enough shrapnel for the rest of us. There's no coinage, no shiny stuff
Yeah.
going around.
Yeah, real cool economy that you built for us guys. I don't know. I mean, there's nothing really. It's just very strange. And uh, looking at other stuff, Gabe found us this excellent article from The Intercept that came out all about the hot up and coming Netflix directors. I'm not talking about the Duffer brothers. I'm not talking about the Coen brothers. I'm not talking about the Wachowski siblings. I'm talking about the
Experience.
I'm talking about the Dorr brothers. The Dorr brothers, who are
Yeah.
the right wing grifters, who are such grifters that even the rest of the right wing grifters have to kick them out. So the Dorr brothers are they are these Tea Party activists who have been very, very active in creating Facebook groups and launching nonprofits and for-profit corporations, all about imposing, defending right-wing values. So their big things are gun rights and abortion, but they're also fighting things like climate change and all just the stuff that all of us agree with and we all really have fun with. And they are but the people who also run these sorts of nonprofits really don't like them.
They're from that one specific part of Iowa
Mm-hmm.
that was specifically the part that Steve King, the like guy who was so racist that even the United States Congress was just like, come on, dude.
Too racist for Mitch McConnell.
Yeah, too racist for Mitch McConnell, too scammy for the NRA.
Which is really just it's some really next level grift, and that's why we wanted to talk about them today. They were homeschooled along with the rest of their, I believe, 11 siblings, and they've been doing this as a family business for a very long time. And they were part of the original kind of Tea Party folks, and it's really just kind of amazing when they are doing all this work for anti-abortion stuff, but then someone like the Minnesota Right to Life sends out a letter to conservatives warning them about the Dorr brothers. Minnesota Citizens Concerned for Life said that the group posted a page warning donors of the Dorrs, calling them well-known scammers. The concern is that this is not a legitimate group, said Paul Stark, communications director for Minnesota Citizens Concerned for Life, which in and of itself sounds like a Ponzi scheme. They're misleading people and taking their money and not doing anything. How much money are we talking?
Yeah.
How much money are we talking right now?
Some of the numbers that were being thrown around is like, it's not even like a huge amount. Like we're talking like around like the 500,000s to maybe a couple millions potentially. Like it seems like they have a large amount of not LLCs, 501(c)(3)s or nonprofits, and they all sort of take in about $100,000 or something like that.
Right.
But they have 20.
Right.
They have like 20 of them.
That's right.
So Yeah.
And they have a
Yeah.
Facebook group that has 2.7 million members in it.
Yes.
And at least 325,000 of those users belong to Door affiliated groups. And I mean, just what's kind of amazing is that there's always allegations of what's called astroturfing. Astroturfing
Mhm.
is when you have a false grassroots movement that is really just the appearance of grassroots energy that is being funded by larger moneyed forces. You know, any time that someone says that Antifa is being funded by George Soros, that they are essentially accusing Antifa of being astroturfed, right?
Yes.
Which again, I would love that. That'd be really great. I could use some money. But like they are they really are doing that. I mean that's kind of what's amazing about it. And the Intercept article talks about how while these people are really creating, 24 nonprofits and Facebook groups across 11 states, they are still they still get a little bit of the zeitgeist, right? Like
Yeah.
they're
Yeah. They're really on top of it. That's kind of the scary part about it. They seem to have fully and totally embraced um, kind of the whole way culture has changed over the last 4 years, especially.
Totally.
Because the Minnesota Right to Life people, they're sending out they're sending out their dainty little like snowflake letter, like they're scammers, they're not good. No, you gotta watch out for them, watch out. Meanwhile these guys, they've fully latched on to what people want, which is full on Midwestern Facebook mom paranoia,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
memes, the good shit.
Mm-hmm. This is from the story. They are, in short, the perfect people to stoke hate in a Trump presidency during a global pandemic. And in true Trumpian fashion, by paying themselves and promoting hate, they may end up spawning a movement.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. It is really nice that they're from Iowa and Steve King's district, because they're too far right for the rest of the right in a very Steve King fashion, and also they're literally trying to, if they build it, they will come sort of mentality to astroturfing,
Mm-hmm.
which is beautiful.
I mean, and who doesn't like the idea of working with your family? This is just a really great story about like a ultra right wing Jackson 5 type situation.
Yeah,
It's a heartwarming tale.
everyone's happy, no consequences.
I really think this is a case study of the excellence that comes out of the homeschooling movement as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these people, when I was kind of first reading it, the sort of vibe I got, I'm sure you guys remember that 2000s documentary Jesus Camp, right?
Yep,
Yeah, classic. Classic in
from my
the
hometown, baby.
really?
Lee Summit, Missouri is like a suburb of Kansas City.
Oh wow. Okay, interesting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these guys were just like, this is the logical conclusion to that whole movement that started in the early 2000s, because like those guys, they're like, the Jesus Camp people, they're fucking whiny, they're too busy fucking praising God and like just like crying and weeping openly at every single church services that they have. Like these people, they're like, yeah. We have a biblical duty and we are going to homeschool our children, but we're not gonna fucking like, we're not gonna like, lose sleep over it, or just like, oh, I'm so sad. They're just gonna like, they're just gonna straight up scam you and then move on to the next scam.
Yeah.
That's their whole that's their whole thing. Yeah, no, I think one of the funnier parts of their little scheme is like, it's just, I really just think it's a matter of time before the IRS finds them. Like they're just operating in plain sight, just doing like a lot of smoke. You can't lot there's no gun, but like a lot of smoke essentially going on. Especially because their whole operation is mailing stuff. Like that's their business, where they will spend money on, like, management fees, quote unquote, and that will go from like their direct mail expenses into like a 501c4, which is a political um a political like designation. And yeah, the funny the funny quote in this article is just from like a Cleveland campaign finance law attorney, uh Scott Hubey, where they set up their own business and their nonprofit funds go to that business, which just seems like a clear conflict of interest. It's not even hard to delineate.
Right. Yeah, I wonder what, like, this is the thing, is we talk about often, like, what do grifters spend their money on? What do you guys think the Dorr brothers are going to be spending their grift money on?
I think they all have McMansions in a cul-de-sac,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mhm.
they live together in these McMansions.
Are you just describing righteous gemstones?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
100% see these dudes living a less flamboyant Righteous Gemstones life.
Yeah.
Like, they love Mack Weldon clothing, and so
Yes.
they're wearing a lot of that.
Okay.
Um, it's not too flashy though. They've got nice stuff, but they're more of the Ferrari type of nice versus the Lambo type.
Yeah.
Not to say that they'd even drive a Ferrari, but it's like muted colors. They're like, can we get that in beige?
Yeah, the beige Ferrari. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Are there like generic and ugly colors for a Ferrari? Like, or do they only come?
David, no, we've gone over this. They only have the most beautiful Italian colors. All right,
Yeah.
the only
Red, white, and green.
Yeah, yes, yes.
It's funny. Okay, so Gabe, you think that they're actually very tasteful? and
I
they
don't
just
want to
live
say
together.
tasteful, but I do think that they like to fly under the radar, and
Okay.
they hide in plain sight. So
Okay.
their affluence is again just the affluence of sort of like the local real estate mogul.
I see. Okay.
what they're doing is very much, and it's very much of the times. It's very much a sort of like a populist angle on like whatever kind of cause they're trying to promote, because like 10, 15 years ago, the whole thing, at least from conservatives, was just sort of like, yes, we are these fuddy-duddies who are asking for limited government spending, but we do this from a proud tradition of whatever the fuck, but these guys, their whole thing is just, oh, we are going to make some absolutely hilarious lies about like culture war shit, and
Mm-hmm.
then when anybody is being like, "Hey, are you lying?" They're just gonna be like, "Hey, you shut the fuck up," and then just move on to the next thing. Like
Right.
they're just serious. They're just like what's the word? They're just pathological liars when it comes to that kind
Mm.
of stuff.
Yeah, they're like Anton Chigurh of lying.
Yeah, like yeah. No, take the quarter, put it out, put it out of your deposit it in the bank. There's a coin shortage going on right now. It just becomes another quarter.
My theory is that actually they're doing this for like very righteous reasons because they're trying to feed their other 9 siblings. Their other 9 siblings are just like incredibly destitute, and they're doing this. This is all like one of these, this is actually just going to be the plot to one of those cool movies where like a guy has to do the evil thing in order to save his family, right? Like it'll probably star Harvey Keitel or something, where he's just like forced to make some like really tragic, moral concessions in order to keep his family afloat. And so actually they live like on the brink of poverty, and all of their companies and nonprofits are like highly leveraged, and they basically are just like running from one grift to the next and using the payments of one 501c3 to like fund the next one because they also maybe have like a bit of a gambling addiction. That's my theory. I think that they actually don't spend any of their money. They only spend their money on the next thing.
Honestly, that it's like we're joking, but it's not. It doesn't feel that far from the truth. You know, like they're not buying the boat per usual
Right.
like scammy thing. They're just sort of like, no, we're reinvesting in the future. We're
Mhm.
like that. We're like that type of crazy.
Yeah.
And like I said, it just sort of like blatant I won't say lies in this one specific case, but there's no transparency. Like the funniest shit where they're like in 2017 when Hurricane Harvey happened, they made a GoFundMe and they raised about $8,000 and just said every penny goes directly to relief effort. And in an article, they're just like, the statement is impossible to check. It's just like there's no way you can't check it, you can't look into it. You know, there's no
Yeah.
public disclosure for it. So if you just make like the most insane, or not insane, but just sort of like, yeah, I'm just going to lie directly to your face, like people will
By
just be like, oh, okay, whatever, sure.
by relief effort, they mean like relieving their debts of their previous 501c3s.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, there's no way to check any of these people. That's what's weird about like a political grift is that there's just um it's not as clean and pure and fun and frothy as like a straight financial grift. Like a straight financial grift, they're just hucksters. They're trying to take some money from someone as quickly and as cleanly as possible, and they're going to spend it on like things of pure joy, such as stupid cars and champagne
yeah,
and like a dumbass house and maybe some like plastic surgery or something like that. But there's no, or like you know or oncology for their 16-year-old dog. Like there's no like we need to reinvest this into like a political operation to get Ron Paul elected. Like there's just no uh, it's a more it's just joy, and you miss that with the Door brothers. They don't seem very happy.
yeah,
I mean, I look at this as just almost systemic, and it's they are the products of a singularly American perversion. One is that we've got homeschooling in the first place, and that you can create this sort of like clannish feedback loop of insanity
Mhm.
where you just have a bunch of siblings all like warping and twisting each other's minds. You know, there's
Like
no
Billie
outside
Eilish.
world that they're getting like any sense of normal from, you know? And so they were brought up in this milieu that's entire like the Tea Party milieu, where they don't believe in climate change. They believe in guns. They're totally libertarian. And then the second strain of what's happening here is sort of like a 4-hour work week mentality around business. They've created a business model that does not provide anything productive or good. They've just created a business model where they take mailing lists of vulnerable fringe people, and they continue to sell these fringe people more delusions through their Facebook pages and through their campaigns for bullshit.
yeah.
Right? So
They're just like they're just above that constituency. Like they're insane. But
and they've just figured out what the life hack is to
Yeah.
siphon money off
mhm.
of these other people. So like the idea that they talk about the Barry Goldwater mailing list and how that mailing list became gold for other fringe candidates and other because those people who were into Goldwater were already conspiratorial and already zealots. So if you could
Yeah.
hook into them, it's like Glengarry Glen Ross, right? Where they're like, is that the movie where they're the leads? We need the leads,
Yeah, yeah.
I think
right?
so, yeah.
Like that's that mailing list is the perfect leads to get more rubes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they have super manic energy.
Incredibly manic energy, not like the energy of Superman.
Manic, yes, very
Yes, yeah.
they're all manic pixie dream dudes. But
Okay.
yeah, one of the things that they were doing, which was incredibly suspect to me, was the buying of domains. And let me tell you, as a man who owns, I want to say 7 domain names, I understand.
Oh.
I will tell you right now that once you start buying domain names and go down that hole, it's a big red flag for like manic energy, because all my domain names are just fun, goofy things. Like I own michaeljfoxblooddiamond.com. That's very fun, It's a that's very that's a good time, everybody wants to see that. But but these guys like when coronavirus hit, like they're mentioning in this article how they immediately, one of them bought like free Minnesota open.com, openminnesotanow.com, it's time to open Minnesota, or Minnesota, just versions of that, and it's like, oh yeah, they're just right up onto the next thing. Yeah. Reopen Wisconsin, reopen MN, reopen Texas now.
Mhm.
They're sowing as many seeds as possible, and seeing what sticks.
They're like Donald Glover. They like solve the algorithm. So, okay, what do we have next? Yeah, what was the last thing we wanted to talk about, boys? We had a little bit, go ahead. What were you going to say, Danny?
I was like, speaking of manic pixie dream men, just the effortlessly sexual Mark Zuckerberg,
Oh, yeah.
with his Caesar haircut and his completely dry but somewhat damp exterior.
Yeah. He's really like the Parker Posey of tech billionaires.
Yes, yeah,
So what happened at the end of July? There was Congress had a antitrust hearing related to big tech. This was in the House Judiciary Antitrust Subcommittee that was being mostly led by Chairman Dave Cicilline, and from Rhode Island. But it was also some of the big people that were really stood out was Pramila Jayapal. She really had some big jabs that were going in there. But the people that spoke were Zuckerberg, Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos, Apple CEO Tim Cook, and Google CEO Sundar Pichai. And they just wanted to, basically, the whole thing was just to investigate ways that they might be breaking antitrust laws. And antitrust laws are related to unfair competition laws, to monopoly laws, right?
hmm
And we talked about monopoly before. It's something that was passed in over a century ago, but hasn't really been enforced since the 70s. And but there's still ways that it can be enforced. One of them is through the Department of Justice, and that's why the House was looking at it. Some of the things that they were looking at, especially with Facebook and Amazon, seem to just be about the fact that Facebook and Amazon were just openly copying the products of their competitors.
yes, yes. That's been a huge issue for a decade now. Like especially with Amazon, their whole sometime around like the early 2010s, Amazon opened up their, third party sellers, essentially. They've always had them on their website,
Yeah.
but they were like, oh, we'll have a system where, you can be part of Prime, and you can your stuff will be right along there with, on Amazon, and like big companies that would put their shit on there. And it became very obvious very quickly that all that data that Amazon was able to mine, essentially, being like, what are people buying? What specifically is like a little bit more popular than another thing? They would find that data, and then they would
Right.
make a product that, I think is kind of most exemplified in Amazon Basics. Like we've all seen an Amazon Basic, where it's just sort
Yeah.
of like, It's just like a product that is identical to like whatever else is being sold, but it's like a dime, cheaper essentially.
The generic brand. It's the CVS shampoo or the Dwayne Reed shampoo
Yeah,
next to your
yeah.
Garnier Fructis.
Yeah, when you're not really feeling about good about spending $12 on the dandruff tea gel from Neutrogena, you just get the CVS brown liquid, and then put that on your hair.
But this is
Uh,
like what I find kind of infuriating about this is that you have to look for some ways in which basically the way that they were approaching this is they're stealing these ideas, but their counter to that is exactly what Gabe said, is that oh no, we're just introducing a generic version, and everyone does generic versions of things. But because they're not just talking about the fact that Amazon dominates 40% of all online retail shopping, they're not just talking about the size alone as the issue. And the size is the issue. It is not the specific things of what they're doing with this generic versus regular anti-competitive bullshit. But like I don't know. What else, Danny?
well, it's just like I said, it's a matter of numbers. And, there's an argument to be made that like, Jeff Bezos got ahead of a lot of that stuff by, really paying attention to it. Like, he used to be part of this back even before he started Amazon. He was part of a firm called D.E. Shaw in New York, because he was like a financial guy essentially.
Yeah.
And like the whole point of that firm actually was that they would find these little micro changes in European and United States stock markets. So if something was cheaper by literally like a penny in New York than it was in Europe, they would buy 1 million of that or whatever, and then sell it in Europe for a little bit more. So it's these little teeny microtransactions that they were able to catch on early in like the tech industry essentially. So like that's like infused into Jeff Bezos's whole like brain. His mindset is just sort of like, what, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm just cutting off the top in a more efficient way than you. He in his mind he truly almost doesn't understand antitrust, because he's like, no, I'm just being more efficient about it. Like he's a very smart man, like he's not like, a Trump where he's just sort of like flying by the seat of his pants. He's very smart. He just has no empathy for people. And
that's yeah.
yeah.
I mean, that's the entire, and like basically American antitrust law kind of agrees these days.
Mhm.
Like the way that antitrust law works these days is it basically says like, unless there is evidence that you are actually stealing from a competitor, or you are unfairly, cutting them out of what is considered to be an objective open marketplace, or some sort of open collusion with someone who's supposed to be a competitor, we're just not going to enforce antitrust laws.
Because
And
those laws are all focused now since the 70s on consumers. As long as it's
Absolutely.
good for the consumer, then it's
Mhm.
good for everyone. But the problem is that we can't define ourselves exclusively as consumers. That's so reductive that it doesn't. We're not just what we buy. We are what we make. We are the labor.
It completely ignores anything like the environment, other businesses, like, or I mean, if you want to get all businessy about it, and capitalist about it, and it's specific. You hit the nail right on the head, Gabe. Like that's exactly what Jeff Bezos has specifically marketed Amazon as. Like I can't remember if I mentioned it or not on the podcast, but his whole thing is, since 1998 has been, we strive for customer excellence, or some iteration of that. Like he's explicitly said that. He's had big overtones to it as well. Like in like Amazon board meetings, what they I'm not even joking about this. They would take a empty chair and they would put it at the boardroom table, and you'd have all the other board members there and that one empty chair there, and that would be representing
Elijah.
yes, exactly. Yeah. It would be representing the customer. So
Yeah,
so Jeff Bezos has been on top of this for 2 decades. Like he had the real long game going, and his whole thing has always been, no, I'm helping the customer, essentially.
What do you guys think an Amazon Basics version of Ponzi Scream would be?
Uh well, I mean, it would just have the same name, but it'd be in a nice little white like packaging with some like
Like
shitty font behind it, you
like
know.
like Gabe wouldn't be Latino anymore. Like it would just be. Is that what you mean by white packaging? Like he would just,
No,
or like would it?
no, but I like where your head's at. No, Gabe is what would Gabe be? Gabe is
Like
like,
an Amazon Basics version of our podcast.
yeah, Gabe is like Serbian now. And
We've done an analytics search to see where we're getting the most listeners from, and then we create a
Mhm.
composite avatar of that demographic. And
yeah.
all three of us are CGI'd avatars whose voices are all the same voiceover actor, but the pitch and tone has been modified through like a GarageBand like program to make us all sound different.
Yeah, which by the way I do regularly. In fact, I'll probably do it right now.
I've changed my voice right now in post edit, and it's going to be cooler and different, and it's going to be very neat. It's going to be
Can I,
great.
can I request? Can I request that all of our avatars just the voiceover be done by Paul Rudd? He's just a lovable guy. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure that he's on Cameo right now, and Bezos can outsource him.
Oh no, I was just gonna say David Blaine released a couple videos recently, and one of them was one where he was doing a magic trick with Jeff Bezos. Like he was at like a party or a gala or something like that, and he did a card trick for Jeff Bezos, and Jeff Bezos was like being there, like doing his laugh, and I was just sort of like, David Blaine, you could have killed him. You were right next to him. you could have stabbed him right in his fucking. Why didn't you fucking stab him in his eye? You could have just done it right there. Of course, in a parody sort of way. You know, I would never want to actually kill. I would never want to kill Jeff Bezos.
Stab someone in the eye in a parody sort of way. Yeah,
in a parody sort of way. I would never actually want to kill Jeff Bezos. I would never want to throw him into an active volcano.
Right. Yeah. Like. So. Apple also was there, and basically there was people were questioning the fact that their app store might be undercutting competitors, mostly by taking a 30% cut of the revenue from sales made through the store, but also so what does that mean exactly?
I don't know. I don't know, but I do know that if you have an app, and by virtue of it being controlled by either Apple or the Google Play Store, and those are the only two places that it exists, that friends, that's fucking a monopoly or a duopoly in this case, you know, like
right. So basically they have this 30% fee for developers to use this store, but now they're kind of talking about it a little bit for some documents that said that they might be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And basically the whole issue is just that their platform, which is supposed to be kind of this neutral platform for the App Store, is not so neutral, and that which is kind of running into an Amazon issue as well. So a lot of this is just kind of these companies are acting as both the neutral platform, the only place where someone can go to market, right?
Mm-hmm.
So can bring their products to market. But also they own the market and are totally price gouging it in their own favor.
Yeah, they completely control. They control all the means. You know what I'm talking about?
Ooh, yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, so it's like you. The classic example with antitrust is that you are both umpire and pitcher at the same time. and you can be one or the other, but you can't be both. So let's see. There is some issues with Google. The last one was allegedly giving favorable rankings to its own services in search results, as well as for its effort to maintain dominance over the search engine market. So again, similar sort of problem. And all these guys are all the same. They're all going to eventually just mimic TikTok in the end.
Yeah.
Who do you guys think is gonna actually, like, now that TikTok is gone from the US, who's gonna make the TikTok replacement of these 4 companies? What do you think?
Oh, I mean, Facebook's going to try and they're going to fail because they're owned by Mark Zuckerberg, who, I mean, his only role in life is basically just embarrassing himself in front of the Senate Judiciary, or not Judiciary, the Antitrust and Commercial Administrative Law Committee. Like, they're. I mean, that guy must have a record. He's been in front of those fucking guys like a ton, and he just goes there, and then he promptly like shits himself like he's on a private plane, and and everybody's just sort of like, oh, well, we're not going to do anything about this, but thank you for embarrassing yourself in front of all of us. Thank you very much for doing that.
Gabe, what do you think?
I wonder if that's part of Zuckerberg's plan, is to come off as kind of inept in these public hearings to make us feel like we can mock him. You know, I wonder if that's just a strategy of some of these guys to just be, you know, because he's got enough money to pay for a coach and a PR team. And but dude, I don't know. I'm not on TikTok, so
yeah,
I have no idea.
I'm not part of the Chinese Communist Party. All right, you're not gonna.
I do think that Trump, like, if Trump tried to invent his own TikTok, that would be really, really funny to watch, and it would be really humiliating. Like, after he gets out of office, he tries to start a new company where he just invents a new TikTok, and it called, like, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it would probably called like Trump Talk, right? It'd have to have his name in it. It'd be Trump Talk.
Yeah.
And the whole and it just is constantly just trying to grift through his own stuff. I would actually enjoy that. I think you could get to the having the Trump grift while also just getting him out of office. And
it's him doing impressions of Sarah Cooper, doing impressions of him.
Yeah.
And now we've just entered like the 5th layer of Dante's Inferno on social media. on the Kushner brand of TikTok, whatever that is.
Yeah. Point being, these people will continue to not really be prosecuted. You know, we'll see what happens with this tech stuff in the meantime. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, also,
that's it.
This is all led by the Democrats, so Trump wasn't doing any of this sort of shit, and he wouldn't do anything with antitrust whatsoever. But anyways, okay, so this has been the morning zone, the
morning
tornado.
Morning zoo, morning scream. That's right.
All right, well, that's all.
All right, guys.
All right, good night.
Thank you.